Alrighty, so welcome to our Wednesday tip and trick webinar. Today we're focusing on publishing and sharing in Bulb. And I'm going to kind of walk you through all the basics of everything you need to know about publishing and sharing in Bulb. And then at the end, we'll leave plenty of time for questions so we can dig into anything that you guys want to cover or want me to cover back again. Does that sound like a good plan? All right. Yeah. And if questions come up along the way, you can chat them to me as well. And I will, I'll take a look at those and work on getting those answered too. So, all righty. Well, so Bulb is a digital portfolio platform, and one of the big terms in Bulb is publishing. And so I thought I'd just start off our time together to talk about what does publishing mean in Bulb. And in Bulb, it means to give audience permission to be able to view your work. So when you publish a page or a collection, you're pretty much setting those permissions to give your work an audience. And I added this little quote in here. If it sounds a little extreme, or it sounds a little extreme, but in this day and age, if your work isn't online, it doesn't exist. And this was a New York Times bestselling author, Austin Kleon. And I love this quote because a lot of people are like, do I agree with it? Do I disagree with it? How I feel? But I think it gets us thinking about this importance of this positive digital presence. And a lot of our students are interacting in a very digital world, and a lot of things, with them kind of personally and stuff, and helping students really create a portfolio that establishes their story and who they are in a really positive way, showcasing some of their best work. And publishing has a lot to do with that. There's another term that we use a lot in our technology platforms, and we use it in Bulb as well, and that's sharing. And so that's one thing I want you guys to take away from today is to understand the term publishing and understand the term sharing. So publishing is giving those permissions. Sharing is actually notifying your audience about your work so they'll go and view it. And we'll talk a little bit about exactly how we're going to do that within the platform. And so I wanted to also this is one of my favorite quotes. I don't know if any of you guys have read any of Alan November's work, but this is out of Who Owns the Learning. And I think it's important for us to realize, why is this audience such an important part of a portfolio and about the learning experience? And so Alan says, very little of the work we give students in school provides them with the sense that they're making a contribution to anything other than their own educational progress towards graduation. A lot of kids are saying, hey, I'm just doing the work for my teacher or this class, right? But indeed, once that grade is recorded, a huge amount of that student work is thrown away, which is kind of where that portfolio comes in, being able to keep that work and leverage it in lots of different ways. And then he talks about it has no more value. And so he kind of sees that future and what Bulb really brings in terms, now that we have powerful, easy to use design tools and a capacity for worldwide publishing, we have an opportunity to restore the dignity and integrity of a work ethic by redefining the role of the learner as a contributor to the learning culture. So as we talk about publishing and some of the different ways that you can create that audience, I want you guys to really think about what Alan was saying in terms of, how are my learners contributing to their learning culture by the work that they're sharing with others? So let's get into the nitty gritty. And I'll share this slideshow with you guys too, if you want to reference this or use this with your students at all. But I want to just kind of highlight those visible to permissions. So when you go to publish a page or a collection in Bulb, there's a field that says, who are you going to make your work visible to? And so these are all the options that are available, and kind of just want to walk you through it. So the first one is public, and public really does mean public. It means that anyone can view it. It can be searched on Google and show up in a web search. It's a great way to share stuff on social media, share stuff to the world. For many of your districts, public is is sometimes limited by grade level. Not all students will have the option to publish to the public. That is really determined by the administrator who has control of what we call an admin dashboard. And they can turn all of these options on and off for students by grade level. So your juniors and seniors may have the option to publish to the public. Some districts say all high school students, some say all students, some say none. So just know that your students may or may not have the option to publish to the public, but all educators and adults in the organizations will have the option to publish to the public. Probably the most popular way to publish pages is to use this private share link. And really what it is it's creating a unique link that then you can share out with other people, and anyone with that link can view your page. They don't have to have a Bulb account, which is why it makes it so great to use for college applications, resumes, scholarships, internships, presentations. You can post that private share link out to anyone, and it's not searchable on Google. It's not out there for the world, but you still can kind of create your audience, and they don't have to have a Bulb account. It's also a really great way to publish work to then submit through your learning management system. And we have a lot of great videos on our YouTube channel about how to use Bulb with your different learning management systems. And we have some upcoming Wednesday sessions about that as well. And then the important thing is that you do have to copy that private share link and give it to someone so that they can have access to your page. The third way to publish is by your organization. So a lot of you guys have this in like maybe your Google or Microsoft settings where it says only members within my organization can view my work. And so that's the same with Bulb. If you're within a school district and say Frisco ISD and you publish the organization, it's anyone in Frisco ISD with a Bulb account and they're signed in could search your content on Bulb, or they could click on a link that you provided them and you would have access to be able to view it because you were a part of that school district or a part of that organization. The fourth way is groups. And so if you ever use our group functionality, you can publish a page to a group, and a group is kind of a members only space. And one of the cool things about groups is that when you publish a page to a group, that content actually shows up on kind of like a digital bulletin board space called group content. And it makes it really easy for a class to access, their classmates' work and be able to see maybe projects that they've done. It's a great way to showcase group projects and things within a class. So you can publish your collection or page to a group. You can also publish your content to individual users. So you have to search by username, but you can type in their username and select users. This becomes really popular. A student might share directly with a teacher and say, okay, I'm doing this project. Maybe it's a reflection, a journal entry, or a particular assessment project or something. And they just need to share it with their teacher. And so they can type in the teacher's username and it'll be published directly to them. If you publish a page to a user, that user will, first off, has to have a Bulb account. Second, they will see a notification in their activity feed that says that someone has shared a page with them. Okay, so that was kind of a big highlight overview of all of our visible to permissions. And so I want to kind of now take you into Bulb and show you all of these things in action. So I am signed in as Scarlett, and Scarlett is a student, though everything I'm going to show you applies to all users. This is not just true for students. And so this is her profile page. And you'll notice here that Scarlett has several collections, and collections you can tell by these double pieces of paper here. She also has a single page here, Reflection Brain Dump. And you can tell that it's just a single page because it doesn't have those double pieces of paper icon. You can also tell that it is not published because the cover image is in black and white and there is a red up arrow that says this is an unpublished page. So that's kind of the visual for you to know what content in your portfolio has been published or not published. So if I open up this page, anytime I make edits on this page, it automatically saves, but it is not published, meaning no one can see my work until I actually publish. Because remember, publish means that I'm giving permissions to have an audience be able to view my page. And so once I'm done and I'm ready to publish or give my page an audience, I'm going to go up to publish in the upper right-hand corner. And that is where I see visible to right here. And this is where I can add all those different permissions. So I can click my cursor into the white space in visible to, and I get this drop down menu. And I can publish to my organization, which is GEDU. I could publish to my world history group. And it showed this page could show up into that world history group. I could, under search for user, type in my teacher's username and it'll populate down here. I can select that name and it'll put it up in that visible to. So this is all your different permissions. This is who has access to my page. And then I have this create private share link. And when I click on the blue create private share link, you'll notice under visible to, it populates private link here. And then under private link, there's a blue clipboard that's really helpful because I can click on that. And now this private link URL has been copied to my clipboard. And now I can paste this private link URL into the submission section in my learning management system. I can put it in an email. I can put it on a resume. I could put it in an application. I could put it in the common application. And so this is how I copy that very special private share link to be able to then send this link out for those to have access to my page. But my page is not fully published yet. I've just put in the permissions, but to activate them, I do have to click this blue publish button in the bottom right-hand corner. And once I do that, now you'll see, I don't know if you guys can see on my screen, but kind of in that bottom right-hand corner, now the status of my page says that it's published. And if I go back up here into publish, you'll notice all of these chips have turned blue. So these are all active permissions now. And so I can go and change any of these at any time. So if I go, oh, I really didn't mean to publish it to the group, or maybe to that particular user, I could click the X and delete those. And to activate my selection, I just click publish again. Okay, and so that's publishing a page. Now, this share right next to publish, only use that share button if you publish your page to the public. So sometimes that gets confusing for a lot of people, and they'll publish their page and then they'll go over to share. And a lot of times students will copy this link and share it out when they've maybe shared with a private share link or just shared to their teacher. This share button right here is really meant for public. It's a public URL. It's a public kind of share modal. So that's just a really good tip, is that if you want to share your public pages, you can copy the link here. But anything else, when you go into publish, you'll want to copy the private share link from this publish panel, or the users that you publish to will get notified, or that'll show up in your group and you don't have to do anything from a share perspective. And just because we're in this panel as well, and we're not really talking templates today, and we do have a recorded webinar, I did templates last week, but there is a little checkbox down here that says save this as a template, and that's where you can make your page a template. So I just wanted to point that out in this panel as well. Okay, so we talked a lot about publishing pages. I'm going to navigate back to my profile because I want to talk about how pages and collections work together. So if I open up my world history collection here, this is one of my top tips. Always, for yourself and for your students, remember, not only do you need to publish your pages, but you also need to publish and set those permissions for your collections as well. And so sometimes it feels a little hidden, but in the banner photo of your collection, there is a word called more. And when you click on more, it opens up a panel that'll look exactly like what we just saw on the page. It has visible to, search for user, create a private share link, save as template, all of those things that we saw on the page level. And so just as a reminder, always make sure you add those visible to permissions at the collection level, and then make sure you publish your pages as well. And so world history here, I can click in this visible to, and I can say I want it visible to my school, and then maybe everything in here visible to my teacher. Or I might say I want to create a private share link because I want to share out this entire collection. So a great example would be creating maybe like a college admissions collection and putting several pages in your portfolio into it. And then you want to share out that one collection of your portfolio for an application for college admissions. You could just click on this private share link, this little clipboard here. This is for that entire collection and all the published pages inside of it. So you can kind of do that at that collection level. So one of the things I want to show you is take note that I've made this visible to the organization, that my teacher, Chris Jones, and a private share link. So now, if I create a new page inside this collection and I click on publish here, do you notice how it automatically under visible to already shows those three permissions, the organization, the user, and the private link with that up arrow? So now no one can see this page still because remember, these are all in gray. It's not active, but it's saying because you created a page in this collection, it's going to inherit those visible to permissions from the collection. And so something I usually teach my students is that create the collection, set the visible to permissions, and then every time you publish a page in that collection, it's super easy because they're already populated in here. You can add additional permissions if you want to maybe add additional users or anything like that. You can't take away any of the permissions that are at the collection level. That's kind of the parent collection. It set the permissions. All pages underneath the collection inherit those permissions. You can create a single private share link for this page though, if you want as well. But the way you now publish this page is simply click on publish in the bottom right-hand corner. And now that page has been published. And if I shared the link out at the collection level, if I shared this private share link here, all of these published pages would show. If I had a page that was unpublished, like this page, the Renaissance Inventions microscope page, if I shared that collection link, they would not see that page. They would only see Christopher Columbus, Start of School Reflection, Cold War, and that new page. All righty, if I'm just going to use my breadcrumbs here, go back to that main profile. So kind of just to recap, it's important that anytime you create a new collection, so say I create a collection for college admissions, that immediately I set those visible to permissions, maybe create that private share link here. And now anytime I add anything into that collection, which if you don't know this or not, you can drag and drop content in and out of collections. any published pages inside that collection will inherit those permissions. And you can also set permissions at the page level as well. Okay, so quick recap before we dive into questions. If you're publishing with a private link, you must copy that private link URL using that little clipboard icon. Do not use the share button and copy the link from there, because that share button only is sharing public links. For all collections, make sure you add those visible to permissions found under the More button. And then the last thing, and I didn't show this, let me show this really quickly. A lot of times we have students who want to share their entire portfolio. So say it looks like this and they want this entire portfolio shared for maybe an internship, or they're sharing it with a judge or something like that. But they don't have permission to publish to the public. And so this happens a lot, and they go, oh, how am I going to share my work? So here's my suggestion for them. If they want to share all of their work with one single link, all they need to do is create a collection. They could even name it My Portfolio. Maybe they click on Create Private Share Link. Now they have this one single link for the My Portfolio collection. And then they can add their About Me, their career exploration, their science work into that one collection. And now they just share this link out for that collection of their work. Once they leave your institution and have access to publish to the public and have control over that, they could move everything out of that collection and maybe share their portfolio as a whole. If you want to share your portfolio as a whole and you have all of your content published to the public, you can just use the URL at the top of the page. That's a public URL, and share that, and all content that is in your portfolio that's shared to the public will show up. Okay. I know we went through that really fast. We didn't have a ton of time together, but I want to make sure that I can answer any questions or go over anything again if you need me to. Did that make sense to you all?
It helped me. Okay. I don't have any questions right now.
Great. Thank you, Ashley. Yeah. I know Penny had to leave. Laura, is there anything I can help you with and answer any questions for you?
No.
Okay. This video will be posted on YouTube, and I'll post the link to my slide deck as well. Sometimes people like to use that publishing matrix to teach their students and the best ways to publish their pages for whatever their intended purpose is. And then I'll send you an email as well with that information. So you can always email me back directly if you have any questions that come up later on.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yep. Have a great Wednesday, rest of your Wednesday and rest of the week. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.